Ever wish you could, like, I don't know, grab some financial advice from, well, the ancients?
Like going back in time for a chat with, who? King Midas.
Not quite. But today's deep dive IS, like hopping in a time machine, because we're diving into The Richest Man in Babylon. Remember, you shared this one with us.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
Totally.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, even though it was written back in the 1920s, this book is seriously bursting with timeless wisdom on building wealth.
What gets me is how it just throws you right back into ancient Babylon. Like, suddenly you're hanging out with chariot builders and merchants, all thanks to these, what are they called?
Parables.
Yes. Those little stories really make the financial stuff stick.
Right. It's wild how relatable their money struggles feel, even after all these years.
Totally.
Take Bansir and Cobby, the two friends at the heart of it all.
Okay, yeah, I remember.
Hardworking guys. One's a chariot builder, the other a musician. But they realize something kind of harsh.
What's that?
They're surrounded by wealth, but they don't have any themselves. Sound familiar at all?
Oh, absolutely. It's like that feeling of, wait a minute, how come everyone else seems to be figuring this whole money thing out except me? Like it's some secret club.
Yeah. It's timeless.
Totally timeless. I think that's a big part of why it still resonates today, you know?
For sure. It's like the OG Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but with clay tablets instead of those real estate seminars.
Right. So, Bansir and Kobe, they finally decide enough is enough. They go to their wealthy friend, Arkad, for some guidance.
And get this. Arkad, he learned all his money smarts from a wise man named Algamish,
Okay.
who, in a plot twist, learned everything from, wait for it, a wealthy king.
Whoa. Talk about a financial dynasty.
Right, I know. And here's one of the biggest takeaways I think that Arkad drops. He says, and I quote, "A part of all you earn is yours to keep."
It's that pay yourself first thing, right?
Exactly.
It's so simple, but man, when you actually do it consistently, game changer.
Totally. It's like declaring to the universe, like, hey, my financial well-being, yeah, that matters.
Yeah.
So how do we put this into action? Well, Arkad lays out 7 cures for a lean purse.
7 cures. Okay, I'm intrigued.
And trust me, these are as relevant today as they were back in ancient Babylon.
No way. So he just shares these with anyone who'll listen.
Pretty much. He gathers a group of Babylonians who are, let's just say, eager to learn the secrets to wealth. Just like us.
I can practically see it now. The sun beating down, everyone huddled around, hanging on Arkad's every word.
It's like we're right there with them, about to unlock the vaults of financial wisdom.
Oh.
So, ready to dive into cure number 1. Cure number 1, thankfully, pretty straightforward. It's start thy purse to fattening. Basically, Arkad says, set aside at least 10% of what you earn before you even think about spending it.
There it is again, that pay yourself first thing. You know, I think what's easy to miss is how it changes your thinking when you actually do this regularly.
You're telling yourself, like, my financial future, that's a priority. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Exactly. It's bigger than just the money itself. It's about making it a habit, a mindset, almost like abundance is the default.
Okay, so let's say we're on board. We're paying ourselves first. What's next on Arkad's financial wisdom hit parade?
Cure number 2. Well, this one might feel a little stricter at first.
Oh no, what's he going to make us do?
He says, control thy expenditures. Don't freak out, though. He's not suggesting we all become like minimalist monks or anything.
Okay, good.
It's more about being thoughtful, I guess. Where's your money actually going is the question.
So budgeting, that old chestnut.
Exactly. Back then it was clay tablets. Today it's apps. But the idea is the same. Track that spending. You might be surprised what you see.
Oh, tell me about it. Every time I look at my credit card statement, it's like, who spent all this?
Right. Eye-opening, for sure. And once you've got that clear picture of your spending, then you can start to tell the difference between, what you need versus what you want.
Which is probably where a lot of us get tripped up, I'd bet. Those impulse buys, those treat-yourself moments that really add up over time.
100%. Think of it this way. Every time you spend money, it's a choice. Are you picking your long-term financial goals, or are you picking that immediate gratification?
All about finding that balance, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, cure number 3 sounds a bit more exciting. Hit me with it.
Oh, yeah, this is where it gets fun. Make thy gold multiply, he says.
Ooh, now we're talking.
This is all about investing. Arkad was way ahead of the curve. He knew the power of putting your money to work for you.
He tells a pretty interesting story, too, about his own first investment attempt, right?
Oh, yeah. He gives all his savings to this brickmaker, seemed trustworthy enough, who's heading to Tyre to buy jewels. It sounds like a decent plan, no?
I mean, on paper, maybe?
Problem is, the brickmaker comes back with worthless glass. Got completely scammed.
Oof, tough break. And a valuable lesson, I'd say, in the school of investing?
Definitely. Goes to show even the smartest among us can fall for a bad investment. Arcad learned the hard way, right? Do your research, get advice from people who know what they're doing, be careful with your money, don't just blindly trust someone, even if they seem legit.
Which leads right into cure number 4, if I'm not mistaken. Guard thy treasures from loss.
You got it. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Diversify those investments, and maybe even more important, steer clear of those get-rich-quick schemes. Those are trouble with a capital T.
If it sounds too good to be true.
It probably is. Words to live by.
For sure. Now, this next one, cure number 5, this feels very relevant to, like, everyone today. Make of thy dwelling a profitable investment.
The age-old debate. To rent or to buy?
That's the one.
The book is Team Own Your Home, for sure. It talks about the stability it gives you, the pride of ownership, and how, over time, it can be a fantastic way to build wealth.
Plus, you can finally paint the walls that weird shade of green you've always wanted.
Exactly. It's yours. Your space, you make the rules. And that brings us to cure number 6, which is all about the long game. Ensure a future income.
Because we can't work forever. As much as some days it might feel that way.
Sadly, no. So we need a plan, right? Something to ensure we're financially secure, especially later on. Could be investments, retirement accounts, whatever works for you. Having that safety net, huge weight off your mind.
It's like that feeling when you know your emergency fund is topped up. Solid.
The best. And speaking of taking control of your future, cure number 7 is a good reminder that how much you earn and your own personal growth, they often go hand in hand.
Right. Increase thy ability to earn. Invest in yourself.
Exactly. Never stop learning. Never stop getting better at what you do. The more you bring to the table, the more you're worth. Plain and simple.
All right, so we've covered those 7 cures for a lean purse. Those everyday habits, right, to build that solid foundation. But now, are you ready for this? Time to uncover the 5 laws of gold.
Ooh, the plot thickens. These are like the golden rules for actually handling wealth once you've got it right.
You know it. And the book lays them out with, get this, a story about a camel trader named Calibob.
Okay, a camel trader with financial wisdom. I'm listening.
Right. And he's sharing this wisdom with his workers. It's that whole teach a man to fish thing, but for financial freedom, basically.
I love that. Okay, lay it on me. What's law number 1?
Law number 1. It brings us right back to what we've been talking about. Gold cometh gladly, an increasing quantity to any man who will put by not less than 1/10 of his earnings to create an estate for his future and that of his family.
Pay yourself first, right? Secure that future. It's like a broken record, but in a good way.
It's the foundation, right? It just works. Consistent saving, even if it starts small, that's what lets you build wealth over time.
Like a little seed, right? Might take a minute to sprout, but you tend to it consistently. Watch it grow into something amazing.
Exactly. But law number 2, this one reminds us it's not enough to just stash it all under a mattress. Gold laboreth diligently and contentedly for the wise owner who finds for it profitable employment, multiplying even as the flocks in the field.
Put that money to work.
You got it. Invest wisely. Find those opportunities where your money makes more money. They even compare it to flocks multiplying. Back then, that was some serious wealth-building imagery.
Makes sense, though. They were hip to compound growth, even back then. But today, so many investment options, it's overwhelming.
Absolutely. And that's where law number 3 comes in clutch.
Hit me with it.
Gold clingeth to the protection of the cautious owner who invests it under the advice of men wise in its handling.
Don't go it alone. Find yourself an expert. Get some advice.
Right. But that also makes you think, who are those experts these days? How do you find them?
It's true. You got to be picky. Just like back in ancient Babylon, I bet there were still folks trying to pull a fast one. Book definitely says, don't trust blindly.
Do your research. Be an informed investor. Ask questions. Don't be shy.
Which, perfect segue into law number 4, right? Gold slips away from the man who invests it in businesses or purposes with which he is not familiar or which are not approved by those skilled in its keep.
Stay in your lane. Don't invest in what you don't get. I'll admit that saved me from some bad decisions, I'm sure of it.
It's so tempting, right? New trend pops up, everyone's talking about it, you want to get in on the action, but this law is here like, hold up, let's think about this.
Exactly. Stick to what you know. And if you are going to venture out, get that expert guidance. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your hard-earned cash.
Preach. All right, what's the final word from ancient Babylon?
Law number 5. This one's a cautionary tale for the ages. Gold flees the man who would force it to impossible earnings, or who followeth the alluring advice of tricksters and schemers, or who trusts it to his own inexperience and romantic desires and investment.
The siren song of the get-rich-quick scheme, they had 'em back then, we got 'em now. Some things never change.
More than ever, I'd say. Social media, those online ads, everyone's promising overnight riches.
It's easy to get sucked in. You see a sob story, a proven system you just know is going to work. But this law, reality check, be wary. Anyone promising unrealistic returns or playing on your desire to get rich quick, probably full of it.
Be smart, be skeptical, and remember, slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, before we wrap up, got to circle back to a couple stories from the book that really stuck with me.
Oh, yeah. Which ones?
First up, Davasir, the saddle maker who goes from deep in debt to successful camel trader.
That's a glow up. What's the takeaway there?
It's like no matter where you're starting from, you can change your entire financial story with some discipline and a commitment to learning, you know?
Absolutely.
When he realizes his debts are like his enemies,
Mm.
and then he needs a plan to beat them.
Mm.
So good.
Love it.
Plus, he's tracking everything on those clay tablets, ancient Babylonian budgeting app.
Gotta love that. Taking control.
Right. And then there's Sharunada, the wealthy merchant who's questioning the whole idea of luck.
Oh, yeah. I liked him. Wasn't he kind of envious of the farmers or something at first?
Totally. But his whole journey, it's like success isn't about some lucky break. It's about hard work, sticking with it, and seizing opportunities when they come knocking.
You create your own luck, right? Being prepared, putting in the work, staying open to possibilities.
Exactly. So big picture, what's the lesson you hope people take away from this deep dive into The Richest Man in Babylon?
Simple. Tools change, tech changes, but those core principles of building wealth, they're timeless. Pay yourself first, control those spending impulses, invest wisely, find yourself some trustworthy advice, and never ever stop learning.
Timeless wisdom, just as relevant today as it was centuries ago. So to all our listeners out there, hopefully this deep dive's got your wheels turning. What's one small step you can take today, inspired by these ancient principles to build your own path to financial well-being? Until next time.